Hey, good evening. The time is 7:33, and I will call this public hearing and regular business of mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, October 22nd, 2018, to order. We are flying tonight without our normal city clerk. Melissa is out of town, so Butch Sanders, our city manager, is standing in, so please forgive us if we're not quite as smooth as we normally are up here when Melissa's here. I'd like to call Pastor Jeff Gongwer from Mount Zion Baptist Church forward for the invocation.
Thank you, Council. Thank you for your service to our community and making Snellville a beautiful place. We know these are very difficult times, especially for the Tony family and our policemen and all over our county and in our city. I have a son who is a policeman in Rome, Georgia, and so we're emotionally impacted by what has happened as our community is. And I'd like to pray for our community. I'd like to pray for you and pray for the Tony family and our police officers all over our county and in our city. Father, we come to you grateful for loving us and walking with us through difficult times. And Lord, I just pray for the Tony family specifically that you would just undergird them and strengthen them and help them to have peace in the midst of this horrible thing that has happened. And Lord, I pray for those who serve our community through our city and through our county. Lord, I pray that you put your hedge of protection around them and that you would continue to use them. I thank you for their courage. I thank you for their abilities. Lord, I just pray that you would just continue to bless our city. I thank you for our Chief Whitehead. I thank you for all those who serve. Lord, I thank you for this city council. Lord, this city is so much more beautiful now than when I came 13 years ago. And I'm so grateful for the diligence and hard work. I pray that as they consider matters tonight, that you would give them wisdom, that they would have a greater understanding of your desire and plan, and Lord, that you would just show yourself strong on behalf. Bring peace to our area, and just watch over us and care for us. We thank you for Jesus, who died and rose again, so we can know what it is to have a relationship with you. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Now, I would like to offer a moment of silence for Officer Antoine Toney. Thank you. Chief, did you want to say? Chief Whitehead's going to say a few words.
Mayor and Council, I just want to address you for a second and talk about what a difficult time this will be for all of our citizens and all of law enforcement in Gwinnett County. Anytime you lose someone in that manner, it's very difficult for those behind to carry on, and it just shows what we all have the opportunity to face when you're doing this job. As you all know, this Officer Toney responded to a suspicious vehicle call at Shiloh Middle School from an anonymous caller that said that they were probably smoking marijuana in the car. He actually never made it to the car before the person fired outside the car, and he was struck, and obviously he passed away very shortly thereafter. But I also am very thankful for the leadership of Chief Ayers and all the members of the Gwinnett County Police Department and all the municipal officers, departments, the Sheriff's Office, state and local partners, even federal partners who got involved. And it is a resolution before the service, and I think that's something that helps bring some peace for everyone. But we've got to remember that this is a double tragedy because 2 lives were lost. And regardless of the situation, it's still a tragedy for all involved. And I just hope we'll continue the support. We appreciate all the community support that we've had for our department, and I know that Chief Ayers does, as do all officers that have been involved in the situation. So again, we're very thankful and blessed that we work in a community that cares like this community does. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Whitehead. Next, we'll have the pledge to the flag we've got Cub Scout Pack 50 here tonight. If you guys would like to come up and lead us in the pledge. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, tonight we have no ceremonial matters. We have minutes from 3 meetings to approve. Gretchen, are you going to run those?
Yes.
We do the first one, then you can do the second, because you're on the 24th, right?
Right, I'm doing the 24th. Okay. I would like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the September 24th. Is that right? 20. Okay. I'd like, I don't know why I'm so confused, excuse me. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the September 20th special called meeting, and then,
Second.
We're doing this a little out of sorts, so y'all bear with us.
obviously.
We've got 3 different meetings, and there's going to be an amendment to one, and so we're just doing it in 3 instead of all at once. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the September 20th specially called meeting. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It's 5 in favor and none opposed.
Now you do the amendment.
Okay, now I think I know what I'm doing. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 24th City Council meeting with the amendment that we add that the Snellville Farmers Market presented a check for $5,000 to the Southeast Gwinnett Co-op.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the September 24th meetings with an amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That's 5 in favor and none opposed. And is there a motion for the October 1st special called work session?
Motion to approve the minutes of the October 1st, 2018 special called work session.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the October 1st special called work session minutes. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It's 5 in favor and none opposed. Made it through that challenge. Butch, you good? We have no invited guests, no committee or department reports. And now we'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda for October 22nd, public hearing and regular business meeting.
With 2 amendments?
That's right. With 2 amendments that I don't have written down.
Under new business, can I jump in? Is that okay? Under new business, item I, approval of Polanco settlement. And also, under new business, item J, discussion of hotels, motel, BG use. And also consideration of moratorium.
Okay, there's a motion. Can we do a motion from 2 people?
I would make that,
Dave, would you like to adopt that as your motion?
Yes, I would like to adopt my original motion as modified by Councilmember Linsky.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. Now we'll have our public hearing. We have one item. It's a first reading for Annexation 18-02, LUP 18-02, and RZ 18-05. Consideration and action on applications by Donald H. Britt and the City of Snellville requesting annexation to the municipal boundaries of the City of Snellville, Georgia, to amend the future land use map to low-density residential, and official zoning map amendment to RS 180 for an existing single-family detached dwelling on a 7.1918 acre tract of property located at 1485 Temple Johnson Road, Loganville, Georgia. Is there a motion?
Motion to waive the first reading on Annexation 18-02, LUP 18-02, and RZ 18-05, moving this to a second reading and a public hearing for November 12th.
Okay, there's a motion to waive the first reading. Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. Okay, we have nothing on our consent agenda, no old business. Under new business, we have item A. It's another first reading. Consideration and action on an ordinance to amend Article 2, Floodplain Management, Flood Damage Prevention of Chapter 30, Floods, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. Is there a motion?
Motion to waive the first reading on ordinance to amend Article 2, Floodplain Management, Flood Damage Prevention, and schedule this for a second reading and public hearing for November 12th.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. Item B, we have another first reading, consideration and action on an ordinance to amend Chapter 62 of the City of Snellville Code of Ordinances to add a new article to be known and designated as Communications Utility Right-of-Way Encroachment, and to provide for the issuance and regulation of right-of-way permits and for other purposes. Is there a motion?
Motion to waive the first reading on an ordinance to amend Chapter 62 of the City of Snellville Code of Ordinances and add a new article to be known, designated as Communications Utility Right-of-Way Encroachment, and to provide for the issuance and regulation of right-of-way permits and for other purposes, and to put on the November 12th agenda for second reading.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. Item number C. We have consideration and action on award of bid for annual resurfacing and paving of city roads. Mr. Sanders, you want to give us a word about that?
I sure will. For another year, I really have a hard time putting into words how fortunate we are to live in a town that contains E.R. Snell Incorporated. We put out an annual bid for street paving, and this year it includes many of the streets in the Summit Place subdivision off Temple Johnson Road. And the bids this year, E.R. Snell really outdid themselves. We are recommending, the staff, Public Works, is recommending the approval of the E.R. Snell bid in the amount of $698,448.85. And this is a number that is $162,000 lower than the second place bidder. That's why I think we all owe a great word of thanks to David and Chris and everybody at ER Snell, and everybody who does such a good job for the city.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the award of the bid for annual resurfacing and paving of city roads to ER Snell in the amount of $698,448.85.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 5 in favor and none opposed. Item D, we have consideration and action on approval of Resolution 2018-10, amendment of minutes of July 2014 through December 2014 to reflect corrections and omissions to the previously approved minutes and to provide minutes not previously on record. Our city attorney, Mr. Tony Powell, will give us an explanation.
Mayor Pro Tem, these are two ordinances. They're coming up back to back. One's for the year 2014 from July to December. The other is for the year of 2015. And what happened was during that time period we had a different clerk from the clerk of today. And during that time period, as you saw in the meetings, there was a lot of difficulty with minutes. And over the period of time that we've discovered that there were not just the minutes didn't get corrected the way they were intended to be by the mayor and council, but there were documents that were missing from the records. And so our staff went back and pieced together from the video. They actually watched every video of every meeting for that period of time to make sure our records were pristine, which is what Melissa is known for. And so these resolutions actually take care of the issue and make sure our minute books are in perfect form.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Now, with that explanation, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2018-10, amendment of the minutes July 2014 through December 2014.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. Okay, next we have item E, which is consideration and action on approval of Resolution 2018-11, amendment of the minutes of 2015 to reflect corrections and omissions to the previously approved minutes of January 2015 through December 2015, and to provide minutes not previously on record. This is the same explanation that Mr. Powell had just given. It's just for the different time frame for the year of 2015. So with that, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2018-11, amendment to the minutes of 2015 to reflect corrections and omissions to the previously approved minutes and to provide minutes not previously on record.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It's 5 in favor and none opposed. Next, we have item F, consideration and action on surplus of city vehicles and equipment. We have a list of several old, I think most of the police cars, a couple of public works vehicles, 3 police units, a Chevrolet truck from the recycling center, a backhoe and a brush cutter from Public Works, and then a tractor from Parks and Rec. Was that tractor actually still running?
That's correct. We'd
Is that the
Make
one
the
we
re-
had to start with the screwdriver?
Still good?
Yeah. So we're surplusing these items, is what this is about, so that they can then be sold on eBay. Is there a motion?
Motion to surplus city vehicles and equipment as described.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. Okay, next we have item G. It's the mayor's nomination and confirmation of Bill Kingsbury to post 6 of the Downtown Development Authority with a term expiration of June 30th, 2020. Bill has been on our planning commission, and he has a great background in planning, a lot of experience that he brings, and so we are trapping him into the Downtown Development Authority for a couple of years. So that's my motion. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It is 5 in favor and none opposed. Congratulations, and thank you for your service. Next, we have item H, consideration and action on approval of Resolution 2018-12, amendment to the Downtown Development District area served by the Downtown Development Authority. What we're doing here, there's a couple of properties south of 124 that we're just adding to the DDA district. They are commercial properties. It just runs just a little bit south of Henry Clower Boulevard, and it just completes our DDA area. So with that, is there a motion?
Motion to approve Resolution 2018-12 to amend the Downtown Development Authority district boundary map.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
So motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. It is 5 in favor and none opposed. Next, we have new item I, approval of the Polanco settlement. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the Polanco.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Mr. Powell was going to give us an explanation.
This is a settlement of $350,000 to actually buy a house and lot. And in the roundabout construction projects, this was unfortunately the one family that we had to displace in the process. And so it's the most serious of those acquisitions. Most of this happens in executive session because it's sort of back and forth with litigation and negotiation that comes off of that litigation. And so we don't know. The reason it's getting supplemented to the agenda tonight is we don't know that we're settled until the mayor and council actually act on it, which they finally did in their approval of the settlement immediately preceding this meeting. So the things that most people are concerned about when acquiring property is whether we're being punitive on the pricing, and in this case there is an appraisal by the other side that's slightly higher. Ours was a good bit lower, but the council, in consideration of all of the interest, did a lot, moving expenses and some other things that were asked for in order to make it a consented to settlement by the Polanco family. So the number has been agreed to. We've got an agreement that has one issue remaining, which is an indemnity provision that we should be able to resolve tomorrow, would be my expectation. So we ask you to approve the settlement as you understood it.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the Polanco settlement in the amount of $350,000.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. And next we have new item J, consideration of moratorium on hotel motel. Mr. Powell.
This is a sort of a quick arising planning and zoning matter. that came up today for the law firm, and what it amounts to is the Snellville Code is deficient in really putting standards for motels, hotels, and extended stays in place. They show up as a permitted use with certain conditions attached to it that appear to me to be out of date. And since we've gotten some inquiries about extended stays, the Mayor Pro Tem asked that I look over this provision and talk to the planning director, and our recommendation was that because of the sensitive nature of extended stays particularly, and some of the damage they've done internally in our community, in Snellville, and in the surrounding community, that taking a closer look at what those conditions of zoning should be, and also thinking about a special use permit that has qualifications attached to it to regulate particularly the area of extended stay is a good idea. We believe it'll take about 6 months for the council to duly consider these issues and ask that the moratorium be put in place to extend through April 30th, 2019.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. With that explanation, is there a motion?
Motion to issue a moratorium on motels, hotels, and extended stays BG use until April 30th, 2019.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5 in favor and none opposed. With that, we are at the end of our agenda, so we'll move to council reports. Councilmember Marble? No report. Councilmember Linsky?
Snellville Youth Commission had a great event this weekend. Their youth forum was on Saturday evening. We had special guests who met with the students in kind of a speed dating format. We'd like to thank Rhonda Colvin Leary, Gwinnett Superior Court Judge. Also, our very own Chief of Police, Roy Whitehead, was remarkable with the students. Butch Sanders, our city manager, as well. Everton Blair also appeared. He is currently a Gwinnett County Board of Education District 4 school board candidate. And Brenda Lopez also stopped by. She is representing District 99 House of Representatives General Assembly, Georgia General Assembly. So we were able to get some really great guests with the elections coming up in a few weeks. They were able to really speak with the students and respond with a great deal of patience to the students' questions as well. So that was an awesome event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Linsky. Councilmember Emanuel?
I'd like to thank the Cub Scouts for leading us in the pledge, and if you want to come up here and see what it's like to be a city council member after the meeting, you're welcome to come up, and you can probably even sit in the Mayor Pro Tem's chair. We had our fall festival this past weekend, which is the last of our festivals of the year, except for the Christmas tree lighting coming up over Thanksgiving, and it was well attended in spite of the weather, and I think everybody had a good time. A lot of fun, a lot of events out there. I'd like to address the issue of Officer Tony, who was shot in the line of duty. We're fortunate in Snellville to have an outstanding police department, and these kinds of things happen, unfortunately. This one hit close to home, and I think it bothered all of us because it was so close to home. But I want to thank our police department for being out there every day and always doing an outstanding job, and I'd like to encourage everybody, when you see an officer, go up and thank him for his service, because it seems like it's just a routine job every day, and it's anything but. And these people are out there protecting us, and I think we owe them a debt of gratitude, and we ought to express that with a thank you.
Councilmember Schultz?
Although she's not here tonight, I'd like to give a special shout out to Kelly McAloon. I also want to just say about the fall festival, she puts hours and hours and hours of work into the various Snellville Tourism and Trade Association events, and we had another great one Saturday, and she really deserves a lot of thanks for all she does for us. And I would also like to just point out, we had our first extended season Snellville Farmers Market the first Saturday in October. And although I was not able to be there at that first one, I hear that it was very, very, very good and very well attended. We have our next one on November 3rd. These extended season markets will be held on the first Saturday of every month, 9 to 12 in the parking lot right out here. So I hope you all will consider attending, because we'd love to have you.
If I may add a belated happy birthday to Councilwoman Schultz. 39?
39 and holding.
Unfortunately, it's a new decade.
Thank you, Councilmember Schultz. And just for the mayor's report, would like to give a shout out to Josh Sweeney. He's the owner of Garage Works, and he won Pinnacle Small Business Award from the Gwinnett County Chamber. He's the Small Business Champion of the Year with his business, where he has some co-working space right here on Clower Street, and also is working towards incubation type services for small business. So we appreciate Josh's work and commitment in the city, and just feel it's great that he was recognized for his efforts. And also too, with Officer Tony, it just breaks your heart when something like this happens, whether the officers, wherever they are. It just seems like this is happening so much more lately, and it would just be wonderful if we could all just get a grip on what was going on, take a step back, take a deep breath before we strike out, and before we take actions that there's just no turning back from. We do have an incredibly great police force here in Snellville. I'm proud of every one of our officers. They do such a terrific job meeting with the community, being out there and engaged with people, being friendly, and they go above and beyond the call of duty, I think, and I just pray that they are protected every day when they get out on our streets. So hug a police officer when you see one. I'm sure they could use it right now. So that ends my mayor's report, and we will open up the floor to public comment. If anyone would like to come forward and address the mayor and council, state your name and address for the record.
Kurt Schultz, 2027 Tanglewood Drive. I want to thank the mayor and council and the city attorney for coming through and protecting the city with this moratorium. And I'd just like to ask if maybe we couldn't look very closely at our ordinances. I know they're being reviewed now, but if we could look at everything very closely and become proactive instead of reactive to these things. I think if everybody would take the time to just, take an hour to look through all these and see if you see any red flags, it would really be helpful overall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Sir?
Hi, my name is Joe Maloney. I'm at 2795 Adams Point Drive. And this seems trivial given the what happened to Officer Tony, but this is the only meeting I could make. So I'm a retired environmental health officer. I retired from CDC a year ago. And I'm voicing my concern on behalf of my neighbors and many others about the abandoned swim tennis club off of McGee Road. It's right across from Dr. Galuzzi's office. It's been vacant for a very long time. And,
The old East Side Tennis Center? Is that right? Yeah, I'm getting a nod in the back. Okay.
So it is a public health hazard because it does pool water. I mean, they have made efforts to try and fix it. They put new covers over it, but, it still holds water. And I know it's October, so it's not as much of a hazard now, but I mean, you know, we had Zika and all kinds of mosquito breeding opportunities. The other thing is, I took some photos today, if you can see it on my iPhone 7. But it's also a public health hazard. It's really tough to secure that area. There's so many breaks in the chain link fence, and there's broken glass, and I mean, it's just a mess. And it's kind of sad because we had that beautiful South Gwinnett Park, which is right across the street. So just whatever you could do to expedite, you know, cleaning that up, or I can't imagine somebody wouldn't be interested in purchasing that land. I mean, it's probably a couple of acres, you know, close to downtown Snellville. So just wanted to express that and thank you for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. That is 5-0. We are done, which is 8:09.